Eat, sleep, bet, repeat. That's how we get down on the opening line at EliteSportsBetting.com. I'll be your host, Benny Ricciardi, and today we're going to be talking a little bit of, I think a little bit of EPL soccer, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, my man, Duke?
That is right, Benny boy. Saturday, big games. As always, we talk about the first game of the day. So you go to bed, you wake up with more money in your account than you went to sleep with, but a couple others we'll talk about too.
Yeah, not too bad there. So I know you had a new podcast come up right now, correct?
Yeah, what's awesome is we're launching a bunch of podcasts throughout the elite industry here for ourselves. We got Jeff Mans has his new podcast. Mad Lab has his War Lab podcast out. And my podcast it's the same channel. So if you're already subscribed to Elite Fantasy podcasts over on iTunes and Spotify and others, you're good to go. But we're going to do some rebranding. New name, new image, new music, put some money behind it, actually get a producer. So a couple exciting things around the corner. Not finalized yet, but in the pipeline.
Yeah, so you guys could always go check that out over at the Elite Podcasting Network, which we're putting up here today. Kind of give you guys a little bit more of our personality. You know, a lot of this stuff we're talking a lot of, you know, the plays and things like that people want. But, you know, people also want to know who is Duke, what makes Duke tick, you know, what's going on in his life. You know, same thing for guys like Mans and Mad Lab and all that stuff. So definitely get over and check all those things out. But today, you guys are here to talk a little bit of soccer. So like we always do, Duke, let's start with the 7:30 game in the EPL here. And I think it's Liverpool this week, right?
Liverpool. You know what's funny, Benny, is I have to limit myself on that piece of the podcast. Otherwise, they'll be 6-hour shows. But it is a good insight into, you know, the guys you hear from every single day. So cool stuff there. Listen to go grab One Man's Opinion and the War Lab podcast over there on iTunes. But Liverpool hosting Bournemouth. Interesting game here, Benny, for a couple of reasons. Obviously, it's the early game. These results seem to be more haywire than just the usual kickoff time. This is a 12 kickoff time over in England. So, you know, you think about, especially those early games in college football season, you're still rubbing the sleep out of your eyes, maybe knocking off that hangover, getting ready for the match. That's how these guys are feeling too. Liverpool minus 385 favorites, Bournemouth plus 950 on the road there, 3.5 total, plus 115 on the over, minus 145 on the under. So immediately where I'm looking to is Liverpool and the under, both juiced to the nines. So we got to get a little bit creative here. One of the things that I'm having an issue with Liverpool is Jordan Henderson has been injured. He's, if you don't know who Jordan Henderson is, he's kind of the guy in the middle of the park. He's the captain. He's the energy. He's kind of the guy that connects the back to the front. So he's not scored a bunch of goals. He's not picking up a bunch of assists. So you may look at a stat sheet and go, well, what's the impact this guy has? Just look at Liverpool's last two performances. It's been subpar to piss poor, quite frankly, for their level. And you could say it could be just a little bit of fatigue. They're involved in 4 competitions. They've crashed out of the FA Cup. Henderson should miss this game as well. They have a big Champions League game coming up on Tuesday. This almost seems like a little bit of a look past game or like a setup game, but Bournemouth suck, Benny. They're terrible. And so, like we've done a couple times here, I'm almost betting against the opposition, knowing it's at Anfield. Liverpool are at home. They do need a result. They have had a bit of a skid. Jurgen Klopp would like to get a little momentum, positive momentum going into that Champions League tie where they need to get a result. So I'm taking Liverpool minus 1.5 at minus 130. The theory being, if anything, they can be solid defensively. Bournemouth struggling to score goals. Let's keep that clean sheet at the back. Let's grab a goal maybe first half, even early second half, and then maybe grab a late winner to go 2-0 up. But I could see this game being, 3-0, 2-1, something like that as well. 2-1 sucks. I'd get us a loss, but I can't pay that 385 juice.
Yeah, so let me play devil's advocate here a little bit for you.
Fine, do it, Benny.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? We got to give the people something. They want to hear us argue a little bit here. So you mentioned it. It's a huge game on Tuesday. Is Tuesday or Wednesday they play?
Wednesday. You're right, Wednesday.
Yeah, so Wednesday. It's a huge game on Wednesday for them in the Champions League right here. And you're one of the ones who always kind of drilled this into my head as well when you got teams playing in, multiple different tournaments here. This is going to be the Liverpool B team, right? Like, they're not going to roll out their best squad because they're going to want a lot of those guys to be fresh for Wednesday because that's a huge game, which arguably means more than this one does. I mean, even if they lose this game, I think they're still top of the table, right? Like, they're still clear even if they drop this. So it's not like this is they would like to get a win here, but this is not like a must-win kind of game here. the one they have on Wednesday is a must-win kind of game. I mean, I think they're already down, right? Didn't they lose the first like 1-0 there?
They
So
lost
they're
the first
already
leg 1-0. So they for the champion, it's a really good point, Benny. I'm glad you brought this up. For the Champions League, it's a 2-game tie is what they call it, but you play a home leg and an away leg. They played in Spain at Atletico Madrid, lost 1-0, so they didn't score their away goal. They now come back to Anfield. So if Liverpool win 1-0, we're going to extra time. Like we're back to even. If Atletico score at Anfield on Wednesday, then Liverpool are going to need 3 goals due to the away goal. So they're going to want fresh legs. But this is Jurgen Klopp. This is a team that doesn't rotate a ton. They have some squad depth, but like I mentioned, Henderson's out. You can bring in Origi maybe. I think Shaqiri's back to fitness, but hasn't played in 4 months. It seems like. How much squad rotation can they really have? And would you rather have that bad taste in the mouth of the last 2 results and a little bit fresher legs, or play here on a Saturday, have Sunday, Monday to rest up, and Tuesday, maybe Monday's a travel day, Tuesday a light session, and then go into Wednesday ready to roll? I don't think we see a ton of rotation here. This could be a great opportunity, like we always say, to wait for team news before firing that bet. If we do see a rotated side, this minus 130 is going to come way down on the minus 1.5 line. We may even get to -1. So hold off if you'd like. Wake your butt up, 7 o'clock Eastern on the East Coast time here to check for team news. Regardless, it's Bournemouth. I like Liverpool to win by more than a goal.
Yeah, so Saturday's one of the few days I actually get to sleep in. So I'm just gonna fire before I go
Fire.
to bed. Take the 1.5 and see how it's playing out when I wake up. If I can in-game something, maybe I'll worry about that when I get up at 8:30 and I start making my bacon and eggs here. So let's move on. I know there's a couple other games you were looking at here. Southampton Newcastle was the next one, right?
It is. And look, as we'll talk about these next couple games, this is kind of how you win at sports betting too, right? It's not always the super exciting games that you're going after. You're not betting on the Dukes and North Carolinas every week in NCAA basketball here. But Southampton, Newcastle, this is one of the lines that jumped out to me, Benny. So from what I made the line to what it was in Vegas had the biggest variance. It's definitely a little bit out of whack, but I'm kind of confused as to why Southampton are minus 150, Newcastle plus 425. Southampton are scoring 1.14 goals per game at home. They're conceding 2.14 goals per game. So -1 goal differential at home. Not great. Southampton against teams outside the bottom 4. So anybody 16th or above in the table. 1 win, 2 draws, 7 losses at home. Not good. Southampton versus Newcastle, December 8th. Newcastle won 2-1. Not good. So overall form in the last 6 games, Southampton loss, win, loss, loss, win, loss. Not good. There's a lot of things not good in the Southampton side. So then I go to the other side of this game and go, well, what the hell's going on with Newcastle? Not great form either. Win, draw, loss, loss, draw. More consistent performances, right? But when you look at the points, kind of splitting the difference there. They've been different. Newcastle's been really decent defensively. And so I'm trending towards the under here. Under 2.5 is plus 105 at the moment. I do think Southampton's going to win this game, but Newcastle's path to victory, or really victory for them, is a point in this game away from home for them to get out of that, stay out of that relegation battle, is just to keep the clean sheet, keep the game low scoring. If they can keep this game to 1-1, or even 1-0 and have a chance to tie it up late, if they can grab a goal somewhere in there and then hang on for a tie, that's what they're looking for. They're not going to be pushing for 2 or 3 goals. Southampton, on the other hand, they just need a result, man. And they're not playing for draws. That's one of the things I actually kind of like about them is they see the benefit of going for the win and maybe grabbing a loss here or there, because over the course of a season, that's going to add up to more points. So while I like Southampton on the side, minus 150 is tough to pay. Just give me the under 2.5 plus 105.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this is one of those situations where it's all about the value, right? Like you're not saying that you don't think Southampton's going to win. You're just saying Southampton's not a team that ever deserves to really be a minus 150 favorite, no matter who they're playing, as long as it's another like Premier League side. If they're playing, Division 3 team, it's a different story. But I mean, if you're playing, another Premier League team, Southampton hasn't really been a team that shows you that being a minus 150 favorite is something you should put your money on.
And they're really hot and cold. So they've had really hot and really cold streaks this year. We go back, excuse me, they started the season 0-2, won a game, drew, and won a game. Then they lost 6 of their next 7 games. Then you go to late December, early January. They won 5 of their 6 games there, and now they're on another streak where they've lost 4 of 6. So they're a team that's kind of hot and cold, and the way they play with this high press and Hasenhüttl has them playing is all about really form of the forwards. Danny Ings, is he scoring goals? He's not. And how are they doing defensively? Do they have that confidence, that press, that energy to go and get the result? I just haven't seen it. Certainly they can get a win here. I think they're probably going to win, but I can't see them really blowing out Newcastle in this situation.
What would Newcastle be on a draw no bet line? Are they plus money on a draw no bet too?
They are plus 280.
I kind of like that because I kind of agree with you. I don't see this game being very high scoring. And if I'm getting plus 280 on Newcastle, and again, I'm not saying Newcastle's better or worse than Southampton. I just feel like the line is wrong. Like, I feel like this should be a lot closer to even than seeing a minus 150 favorite and a plus 400 on Newcastle to win, or even on the draw no bet line, like plus 280. Think about that. If you get a draw, all right, fine, you get your money back. If Newcastle happens to come away, you're getting paid almost 3-1 with one bad team beating another bad team here. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, and the tough part is you look at that roster and go, who's going to score for Newcastle?
Well,
See, Maximin isn't going to score. Joelinton is just a big old Brazilian who hasn't done jack crap all season. Miggy Almiron grabbed 2 goals. Our boy from MLS, woohoo, midweek. Maybe he can grab a goal. They've just been doing it, with, bits and pieces from here and there. I think they had, like a streak of like 4 or 5 games where they had only defenders scoring goals. They were getting results. So
yeah, you're not going to
piece some things together
consistently with that going on. That's, I don't know.
But to your point, can they get a result 1 out of 3 times? Sure. Yeah. And maybe they draw 1 and they lose 1. So if you look at that from a mathematical standpoint, maybe worth a stab there.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk about this all the time. It's one of the things that our fearless leader Rob, MLB model, says as his mantra. It's like, I don't bet teams, I bet numbers. And this is one of those games where it's not like I'm saying I love Newcastle and I think they're going to win this game. I actually think they're going to lose this game, but I don't think they lose this game 2 out of 3 times all the time, or 3 out of 4, with it almost being plus 300. If they play this game 100 times, I think that it probably ends up, maybe 50 or 60 in Southampton's favor and 40 or 50 in Newcastle's favor, which is why I said it. To me, this should be a game where both of these teams are a little bit closer to even money on the payouts. With the payout here like this, I think Newcastle might be the side with some values. So I think I just talked myself into it on air here, Duke. I'm going to put some money on that Newcastle draw no bet line.
Well, for the same exact reasons, we're on 2 different bets, but we could both win. I think, I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I couldn't even see Newcastle being shut out. This game could easily be 0-0. It could be 1-1. It could be 2-1 either way. There's certainly a situation where we can both win this side.
And that'd be nice because I like when we all have money. That's when
Let's do it.
Happy, and that's the way it goes. So we had another game you wanted to talk about here too, right? Right? It was Wolves and Brighton.
Yep, another 10 o'clock Saturday morning game. Wolves hosting Brighton. Wolves minus 155. Brighton plus 450. Brighton, one of the bright spots early. I think they beat the doors off of Watford the first game of the year, if my memory serves me correct, and then have kind of come back to the pack here a little bit. To me, this looks like a one-sided game, Benny. Wolves in decent form, spectacular at home, really good against the bottom half this year. They've kind of flipped their results. They were so great against the top 6 last year, struggled against the bottom. They've kind of flipped those. You just look at their home results. They beat West Ham 2-0. They beat Watford 2-0. They beat Aston Villa 2-1 and Norwich 3-0 at home. That's all 4 teams right below Brighton in the table. Brighton's 15th. I think that's 16th, 17th, 19th, 20th or something like that in the table. So right in that range. I like to look for comparisons like that when I'm starting handicapping a game. And for Brighton, it doesn't get much easier coming up. They have Arsenal at home, Leicester away, Man United at home, Norwich, easy game-ish, right? And then back-to-back games against Liverpool and Man City. So you start looking at this string of games. There was only 10 games left.
Yeah, that's they're going to lose more than half of those that you just mentioned.
And they're in 15th place. I think they're 3 points out of the relegation zone. So this is an opportunity. They're going to look at this and say, we need at least a point, right? They may be able to grab a draw there somewhere. Maybe they beat Norwich, but you're looking at a string where maybe you get 4 points from 6-7 games. That's not good. So they're going to be balls to the wall here. But at home, Wolves are so tough. I have this as a 2-0 Wolves victory. If you want to grab that as an exact score, go nuts. I think you'll get a pretty good number there. I'm taking Wolves. I'm eating the juice, minus 155. And then I'm also grabbing Wolves -1 at plus 115.
So -1 is plus 115, and minus 155 is the
three-way
line.
Money line. And what my thinking is here, all right, if let's say Brighton does score, right? Wolves have been really good defensively, but let's say Brighton does score. I do have this as a 2-0 win. I do think Wolves are going to score multiple goals. Diego Jota is in unbelievable form. Jimenez is in great form. Defensively, they've been super sound. Willy Bolly is back. If Brighton does score, I still think Wolves get the victory. So 2-1 win. Maybe we push our -1 bet. We still get the win there on the three-way line. So I think we're going 2-0. If not, let's go 1-0-1.
Yeah, I like that. And minus 155 seems like a pretty nice price there for Wolves too. So I'd be willing to bet that price. And that's the difference. Like Wolves to me is a good team. Brighton is not. So taking a minus 150 on Wolves on the three-way line, I'm good with. Southampton is not a good team. Newcastle's not really either, but with two not good teams, I don't want to lay 150. That's not a number that I'm looking to really play around with. And that's why I said, sometimes it's better to bet the numbers than it is to kind of bet the sides. You still have your view on who you think's going to win, but you know what? If they're not getting the number that you want on it, sometimes the value is actually on the other side of that game. So sounds good to me.
Brighton's last road victory, by the way, was December 5th. So, This isn't exactly a team that's doing well on the road. You look at how they're doing against the top 8, we'll call it. They drew Sheffield 1-1. They lost to Tottenham 2-1. Lost to Man United 3-1. Lost to Chelsea 2-0. City 4-0. Liverpool. There's a very clear path here for both of these teams. I think it's a 2-0 victory for Wolves. We'll call that.
Yeah, I like that. And like I said, that minus 155 number I think is pretty good. So if you guys are interested, you could always go over to elitefantasy.com. You get all the write-ups that Duke has for who he likes on the fantasy side, whether you're playing fantasy Premier League stuff or you're playing a little DFS with the Premier League going on here. You can go over to elitesportsbetting.com. You can get all these bets that we're talking about here, as well as other ones, including the big Tuesday, Wednesday this week. We got Champions League coming up, the second leg of a lot of those matches that we saw from 2 weeks ago. So we'll have that coming up on Tuesday, Wednesday. What are you doing content-wise for that? I'm sure you'll have out an article on fantasy and some bets going up in the bet pack.
Yeah, so first of all, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you hit the like and then check out all the shows that Benny does every single day, all week here. But these aren't the only bets that we have in the bet pack, right? We give you some plays. Some of them don't even make it in the bet pack, right? If we have some different team news and some things change last minute, that's what our subscribers are paying for, in addition to other bets that come about. We have 20 games that are going on Saturday. We've talked about 3. So if you haven't yet, get over to elitesportsbetting.com and sign up there. But for Champions League, I'll have an article out Monday previewing Tuesday and Wednesday. I'll have another article out Tuesday, just looking specifically at the Wednesday slate. Be in the chat room Tuesday, Wednesday, all day, talking through different bets, making in-game bets, live bets, and just hanging out, having some fun during these games.
Yeah, so that's it for today. But before we sign off, I know you had a public service announcement you wanted to get to as well. And I also wanted everybody to see that they finally got there for all the guys that helped out with it.
Dude, shout out to the best subscribers in the world. Oh,
there we go.
There's the crest.
There you go.
There's the crest. Ryan, Micah, Brett. I'm sure I'm missing somebody. Thank you guys so much. Very unnecessary. Got my daughter kitted out for the season. She'll be wearing this on Sunday as Man United take on City. Game I didn't want to talk about here, but look at this thing. How cute is this, Benny?
I saw it when it got delivered to me, man. I saw them before I shipped them off to you.
Unbelievable stuff. Totally unnecessary, but greatly appreciated. She'll grow into the dress. Absolutely hilarious, but we'll have the onesie on her on Sunday. Come on, United.
And like I always say, man, we have a lot of fun doing what we're doing here, and we got the best subs in the world as well. So it's a big, happy Mafia family over here at Elite. All the Elite businesses, all the Elite Mafia getting in on this.
You know what's funny? I was just thinking about this last night as I see, Tommy G's up 100 units or whatever it is on the year, and he had a break-even day, and someone's giving him shit on Twitter. If you get to the end of any subscription, whether it's Netflix or insurance or anything, and you're not satisfied with the product, just cancel it. Don't renew. But if you get through, I guarantee, if you spend 365 days with us, it's hard to guarantee you'll be up money. You'll be up money if you follow everyone's plays. If you don't have a good time just hanging out with us in the chat room at 2 a.m. betting Australian League soccer and, Korean ponies like we were doing the other night, if you don't enjoy your subscription and get your money's worth just for hanging out, then just cancel. But listen,
if you're a degenerate gambler, you can literally wake up at midnight, You could take Moose's plays and start betting esports stuff going on in Asia at like 2 a.m.
Yep.
You can hop into the chat and get the tennis bets that we got with the new tennis guy that we brought on here, Jamil. You could wait until like 6 or 7 or 8 in the morning when MLB Dream starts posting his MLB lines to get those up. If there's afternoon soccer, when those 1 o'clock baseball games are done, you can roll that money over into Duke soccer bets. And then when that's done, depending on what time of year it is, you got the NHL bets, you got the NBA bets, you got the MLB bets, whatever's going on. And if it's a Friday or Saturday, you can take that money and you can put it onto whatever the football games, whether it's college or NBA, whether it's college or NFL or even XFL at this time of year that you got going on. So believe me, if you're looking for action, we got it for you. We got a guy that's covering it. And we don't just grab somebody off the street. We get somebody with a track record who knows what the hell they're doing in each one of these sports. Because you know what? As much fun as gambling is, it's a lot more fun when you win, Duke. And that's why we try to help all these people make money. And for that, we'll end on that note. For my man Duke, this is Benny. This has been another episode of The Opening Line at EliteSportsBetting.com.